Harry has gotten closer to a cunning manipulator, which will lead to even further deterioration in his relationship with his father and brother. This person is Harry and his brother William's uncle, Earl Charles Spencer. He is currently offering unwavering support to Harry. Why? For his own financial interests. He could as easily ruin the naive and trusting prince as he did his mother and his own sister, Princess Diana. A manipulator compared to whom Meghan is just a girl. If Harry falls into his hands, Meghan's antics will seem like mere pranks. This charming 60-year-old divorced aristocrat, to whom his nephew Harry is increasingly drawn, might lead him into even bigger follies than he's already committed for his own benefit. The brother played an unpleasant role in the fate of his own sister and Harry and William's mother, Diana. Right before her death, Diana had a falling out with him and wasn't speaking to him. This didn't stop Charles from putting on a show of tragedy and delivering a denunciatory speech at her funeral. Upon hearing this, the Queen stopped talking to him, although he had previously been a page to Her Majesty. Diana's former husband, Prince Charles, had a big falling out with Earl Spencer over the organization of the princess's funeral and never got along with him again. I won't speculate on what Diana's brother demanded, but Prince Charles conscientiously did everything he could to ensure Diana, with whom he had already divorced at the time, was buried as a member of the royal family, even though the Queen was opposed. The reason for Diana's quarrel with her brother was his refusal to let the princess stay at the family estate after her divorce. "No, I cannot tolerate the publicity and baggage you bring with you." Diana was angry and hurt and stopped speaking to her brother. Now, in the ancestral estate where the brother refused to shelter his sister, he has organized a museum for her and makes a good profit from the memory of the people's princess. Charles Spencer played an unseemly role in arranging the famous interview with Princess Diana. He introduced Diana to journalist Martin Bashir, provided Diana with fake documents obtained from him, false checks of transfers from intelligence services to the account of Diana's personal secretary, Patrick Jeffson, and Prince Charles's secretary, Aylard. Bashir also created and, through Charles Spencer, handed the princess checks of transfers to the former head of the Spencer family's security from a media company that supposedly paid £4,000 monthly for information about the family. Together with the journalist, the brother convinced the sister to tell the whole truth about her life in the palace before the conspirators, among her close people, smeared by Bashir, did so. Charles was young and realized too late that Bashir was deceiving him. When he informed Diana about his suspicions, the interview had already aired. But youth is a poor excuse for involvement in intrigues. Had Earl Spencer not been interested, he could have acted like their sister Jane, who refrained from the conflict and did not push the princess towards an interview that ruined her life. He's cunning. I think he's a very smart person, but he's crafty. This is the opinion of royal expert Ingrid Seward. She notes that the Spencer family is now making every effort to get close to Prince Harry. The Spencers appear at all events involving Harry. The royal family didn't show up at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, but the uncle and aunts were there, supporting their nephew. It was like this with Princess Diana too, whom brother Charles and sister Sarah supported against her husband. In my view, it's a rather foolish position for an uncle to support a son against his father. The royal family will be uneasy about Harry's growing closeness to Earl Spencer, and this will only increase the confrontation. However, the Spencers will benefit from this growing tension. The Earl has children, Harry's cousins, who, like their father, will profit from their closeness to Harry and the scandal with the royal family. Currently, Earl Spencer works as a historian, journalist, and television presenter, and he can say or write things that might better be left unsaid. This is what makes the Windsors nervous. Charles Spencer manages the ancestral Spencer estate of Althorpe in Northamptonshire. He recently divorced his third wife Karen Gordon, Countess Spencer, and has decided to dedicate his time to his children and grandchildren. Charles and Karen were married in 2011, and in 2012 they had a daughter, Charlotte Diana Spencer, who grew up at Althorpe. Charles recently published a memoir, Very Private School, in which he recalls being subjected to abuse, including sexual abuse, at one of Britain's prestigious boarding schools. The book was released on the 14th of March. The author lifts the curtain on the prestige surrounding England's well-known private schools. In the book, he exposes the horrors that representatives of aristocratic families endure during their childhood. These issues are not typically discussed, and such treatment in elite private schools, where children experience abuse from both teachers and older students, including sexual abuse, is considered a norm. Diana Spencer was not spared from this ordeal either. But home wasn't much better. The nanny would hit their and Diana's heads when they misbehaved and would pour laxatives for his sisters as a punishment. Charles does not blame their parents. He blames the system. Charles continues the line of accusation against the establishment, which he began in his speech at Princess Diana's funeral. He believes the press and the establishment are responsible for his sister's death. Diana was accustomed to violence from childhood and considered such behavior normal, just like 98% of children from aristocratic families in Britain who grew up in similar conditions and were regularly subjected to abuse. Diana didn't excel in her studies, which we usually attribute to a lack of desire to learn and general laziness. But after hearing Charles's account of his and Diana's school years, I see another reason: the harsh environment at the expensive private school where Diana was sent. Diana didn't want to stay in the private school she was sent to. She cried and told her father, "If you loved me, you would never leave me here." And she had her reasons. The conditions at the school were too harsh for the princess. I don't know if one can speak of love in an aristocratic family, but a loving brother would never refuse to shelter his dear sister after her divorce. The same will be with the nephew. The uncle will use his sincerity and trustfulness for his own interests. After all, he indirectly benefits from this situation. The king, the father, is bad, not willing to reconcile, while Uncle Spencer is good, supporting and embracing him for the cameras. But his mother already saw through the sincerity of these embraces, so why repeat her mistake? Exploring the intricate dynamics within both the royal family and the Spencer household reveals the complexities of familial relationships under the scrutiny of public life. As Prince Harry navigates his journey, much like his late mother, he is faced with the delicate task of balancing personal desires with public expectations. The tension between him and his royal relatives displays a narrative of an individual seeking authenticity and autonomy, often leading to an inevitable clash with tradition and duty. The Spencer family, particularly Earl Charles Spencer, plays a pivotal role in Harry's story today. Historically, Earl Spencer's perspective has been critical of the establishment, a stance well documented during the emotional discourse following Diana's untimely passing. It's a viewpoint that echoes in his own family history, marked by strict upbringing and societal expectations. This legacy of rebellion against the expected could indeed mirror in Harry's current choices, potentially encouraged by an uncle who has experienced both the privileges and the pitfalls of aristocratic life. However, the notion of family support in the public eye raises questions about authenticity and motives. Charles Spencer, while positioned as an ally to Harry, brings his own narrative shaped by personal experiences and losses. His endeavors, from managing Althorpe to recounting painful memories in his book, Very Private School, hint at a man shaped by witnessing and enduring systemic flaws. This depth of character in his public and personal life's portrayal suggests that his counsel to Harry might come from an empathetic place, but also a strategic one, aware of the implications of remaining in headlines. For Harry, the comfort from familial bonds might appear alluring, yet history warns him against misplaced trust. Princess Diana's story stands as a solemn reminder of how quickly support can morph into exploitation, especially under the media's relentless gaze. The motives behind Charles Spencer's public support may intertwine genuine familial care with a desire to critique and challenge the establishment that he blames for personal grievances. This dual-dimensional motivation complicates Harry's association with him, suggesting a need for discernment amid his trusted circle. The surrounding dynamics encourage reflection on how public figures interact with familial relationships laden with public and private history. For Prince Harry, the journey is not solely about distancing from royal duties, but also understanding the familial influences guiding his steps away from them. With every public appearance alongside his Spencer relatives, the young prince must navigate between ancestral lessons, public expectations, and personal integrity. Ultimately, as Harry continues on this evolving path, the narrative of family, loyalty, and autonomy will persist in public discussions. The balance between learning from the past and forging a distinct personal identity is delicate. For his supporters and spectators, watching Harry navigate these waters offers a broader commentary on modern royalty, legacy, and personal freedom. The world observes, speculates, and often empathizes with the challenges of living a life in the spotlight, underscored by familial allegiances that might bring both comfort and caution. Write a comment, subscribe to our news channel, and support the article with a like.